illegals that are being deported should be deported. That does not mean they should be murdered by some lunatic. And so I do pray for those that were killed and those that are wounded and their families. It does not matter if they were illegal or not. That's fucking grotesquely heinous. And it's even more absurd and just fucking senseless if this was done by an anti-ICE person that's furious that they're detaining people. And they murdered 2 fucking detainees. Everything else said, we'll see more of the motivations, whatever. Those people are dead and they're injured. Then there's the ICE officers themselves. Think of the fear that they're living under, knowing that they're being targeted like this over and over again. So my prayers go with them as well, particularly the ones that were near this location that could have probably just through accident weren't the ones that were under the scope and targeted. It's fucking out of control. It's out of control. And I warned people. I warned people that this was going to happen. I said, the left uses violence when they have institutional control. And when they start to lose it, we're going to see the already violent left, so many groups like Antifa and shit, they're going to lose their fucking mind. This was me in March. Reports of Tesla buildings being attacked, people that drive Teslas having their cars vandalized. There's other stories of people that are suggesting on places like Reddit that Elon Musk and Donald Trump may need to be taken out. Make no mistake about it. I've said for years, all of the insane violence that we saw coming from the left, from places like Antifa, from way back when you saw them rioting at places like Berkeley to prevent people from going in to hear the terrible Ben Shapiro from speaking, riots that we saw on college campus, them locking Riley Gaines into a room, not letting her go out, other attacks that we saw all across this country during the Black Lives Matter, the Chaz Zone, all of this stuff. The irony was, all of this was occurring while the left had institutional power. And I said, if you think this violence is bad now, wait until they start losing those connections to institutional power. Now, they have direct connections in the sense that there were cultural connections, such as the people that were running things were advocating policies and at least paying lip service to the issues that these radical leftists wanted, such as Trans America, Black Lives Matter, etc. But now we're starting to find out that there are connections possibly in the terms of financial connections where we see NGOs that were possibly financing institutions that were leading to these sorts of people that then went on and engaged in different attacks. Oh, I forgot to mention those against pro-life centers. Remember, the FBI couldn't get to those because most of those attacks occurred in the evening. Remember, that's what Chris Wray, head of the FBI, said? I predict that as we see these NGOs start to collapse and the funding dries up and the cultural shift starts going the other way, that these groups will become more desperate. Initially, they won't understand that they can't get away with it with impunity like the majority of the Black Lives Matter riots, and there will actually be consequences if there's any justice in this world. So you're about to see what I would predict would be an uptick in violence that occurs from these left-wing groups. They feel morally righteous. They've been gaslit into believing their opponents are Nazis, and you're justified in doing whatever you want against Nazis. They become more brazen in non-violent attacks, such as going after J.D. Vance when he's walking with his daughter, and violent attacks in the form of vandalism and other things that we see, up to and possibly including things such as assassinations, which we've seen 2 attempts so far against Trump. So gird your loins, we're probably going to see more of these violent reactions from the left, and it'll all be smugly ignored, cheered on, or wink, wink, nudge, nudge from people in positional power in the establishment and on the left. That was March, but I've been saying things like this for years. Now, I can't prove to you that the left committed this violence. That I don't know. It seems likely, given what we have so far. But I was talking about this the other day. Once this sort of glass ceilings broke, and once it becomes, okay, we can assassinate your people, we're going to take shots at the president, we're going to attack ICE officers, it's going to raise the temperature with everyone. And you're going to start to see people from other groups are going to be like, yes, we'll get involved in the violence as well. That's what's going to happen. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse from this point forward. We're going to see more law enforcement officers attacked. We're going to see more politicians attacked. We're going to see more individuals that are involved in politics, whether it be punditry or whatever. We're going to see more attacks, both lethal and non-lethal. That's what's going to happen. Meanwhile, we're being told we got to lower the temperature while you have prominent left-wing streamers going out and saying conservatives should fear for their lives to be in public, while you have people saying that ICE are Nazi facilities, while you have people saying that Trump is a fascist. Gavin Newsom, was he the guest on Jimmy Kimmel's show last night, or was it Stephen Colbert? They all run together to me. Was saying he doubts, it's a serious concern that there might not be a 2028 election. Talking about how much of a fear they have that Donald Trump's this fascist dictator. We're not 2 weeks away from one of the most prominent, if not the most prominent, political organizer for the right being assassinated. And they're right back into it. First, they told us it was a right-winger that did it. Then they were like, well, now Jimmy Kimmel's saying, well, we can't blame anyone. It was just a crazed person. We can't blame any ideology. At what point do we stop the gaslighting and admit there's a fucking serious problem here? Last night in Eugene, Oregon, a bunch of Antifa type people surrounded an ICE facility. Now, what they're going to try to do is this. This is another thing they'll do. They know that they've used violence over and over and over again, these Antifa type groups. So now what they'll try to do is they'll set up around a building like they do and then attack it, except they won't attack. When ICE cracks down on them, they'll scream, we did nothing wrong! No! What's your name? That's what the videos we were watching last night. No, what's your name? Tell us your name. They'll pretend to be journalists as they have. Then claim victims. These groups need to be investigated. They need to be held to the fullest extent of the law. That's it. If not, things are going to get way worse. They're going to get way worse. And then, just like I predicted with the Black Lives Matter shit, what'll happen will be eventually people will take matters into their own hands. They're going to say, you know what? We're tired of this shit. And they're going to show up and they're going to say, we ain't putting up with it. You want to riot against ICE and shit? And the federal government and the local law enforcement won't do anything? Then we'll do something. Which is a huge fucking mistake, by the way. It's a huge mistake. But that's what'll happen. Just like with Rittenhouse. And like I said there, I don't want to see people taking matters into their own hands.